All right, guys. How about Zhang Weili? That's her third title defense in the Coleman event. She defeated Jonan Yan via unanimous decision, also by rear naked choke, and also by unanswered strike to the dome. But she only got one win, not three. The first result's the only one that matters. That's the official one. What did you guys think of Weili's performance? Goes.
You know what, man? I went back and forth on this because look, it's another notch on her belt. Good for her. You're right. She could have probably beaten her 3 times the way that fight went down. It's a great win. She was dominant, but at times when she was getting knocked down so many times, it kind of built a level of doubt. For as dominant as her performance was, all I could think of is I'm thinking Tatiana Suarez is sitting in her living room just salivating because I think that makes that fight so much more intriguing now. Um, Great moment for Zhang Weili. I think on the broadcast, we have to watch it with the volume down a little bit, but I think, I heard a couple times she's getting tired, and you could tell maybe she was, but at the end of the day, it's a championship fight. How do you not get tired? I thought she dug deep when she needed to. When things weren't going her way, she was able to make the adjustments. The guy who doesn't get a lot of credit to her success, I think John Wood gives excellent advice in the corner. I thought he did a great job. But all in all, I think it was a good night for her.
Mm-hmm. Mike, what would you do next for Zhang Weili? Tatiana?
I would, yeah, it's got to be Tatiana Suarez, right? Like that's the fight that's been probably the logical matchup for a while, but Tatiana can't get her consistency, can't, get the timing to work out. But now, like, I know she just pulled out of that fight in February and dealing with some health stuff again. You just got to do this at this point. Like, if Tatiana wins and can't stay healthy after that, you deal with the repercussions. But at this point, I think that's the biggest fight, though. It seems like the riskiest matchup for the champion. And from all indications, if that Chinese reporter at the post-fight press conference who claimed the fight had already had 30 billion views, which I don't even know if that's mathematically possible given all the time that we had in between those two things. But obviously a huge deal over there. Yan Xiaonan or Zhang Weili is a money printing machine for the UFC right now as champion. So I don't know, maybe you want to preserve her title reign a little bit, but I think this is the fight to do.
Well, there's like 8 million people on the planet, so I think each person would have had to watch it 4 times within an hour. That was a bit much. Yeah, but I imagine that maybe it was 3 billion, who knows. I could see Dana White going nuts though. He's thinking of the prospects of obviously how big the UFC can grow in Asia, especially in China. They've invested in a PI out there. Danny, Zhang Weili keeps adding to her resume, but she's got a couple glaring losses to Rose Namajunas, who also owns wins over Joanna and Jacek. Joanna and Jacek's at the top with most title defenses. How do you shake out this whole Strawweight GOAT talk? We kind of teased it a little bit in the last few weeks, but did she just kind of gain or maybe take that spot? Where do you see her?
I already said it. I said it on last week on the preview for 300. It's Joanna Jędrzejczyk. It's still Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and it's gonna be Joanna Jędrzejczyk for some time. She was the only one that consistently kept the belt for years. 6 title defenses. Now, obviously, this helps Zhang Weili's case, but she's got to do a little bit more. I think those losses to Rose Namajunas, especially one because she got knocked out, really did hurt her run to become the GOAT at strawweight. Let's log in a couple more title defenses, and then we'll have this conversation again. But it's Joanna champion for now.
Well, she's got 5, not 6, and Zhang Weili has 3. But Zhang Weili owns 2 wins over her. And Joanna, the other one we're talking about in the mix, is Rose, and she's got 2 losses to Rose. That kind of hurts.
Seaver owns a win over BJ Penn, and he ain't the GOAT.
Well, they didn't fight at their prime. You know what I'm talking about. In title fights, it didn't really go well for Joanna.
Jędrzejczyk didn't fight her at her prime.
What's that?
Maybe I don't think Jędrzejczyk fight her at her prime. Zhang Weili, and a bit of a different era. She comes from a little bit of more old school.
I don't know, man. It's a great conversation. I don't know that there's the right one. The way you're dismissing it, like it shouldn't even be talked about. That's the part that turns me off a little bit. It's 5-3 in title defenses, and those 2 losses head to head are kind of hard to look the other way.
Maybe. That's it. One name.
So right now, who would you say is greater between Usman and Edwards?
Usman.
Even though he's 0-2 against Edwards. Why do they fight then?
1 and 2.
We're talking about greatest. We're not talking about best. Usman's done more as a champion.
He has. I understand that, but man, those head-to-heads, they have to mean something. All right. Well, Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. If her health remains, is there another name that's floating out there that we should keep an eye on? Is Andrade on this 2-fight win streak, being a former champ, or she's starting to finagle her way back in? Because she took a couple L's, but now she's beaten. She only fights killers, by the way, and now she's got Marina Rodriguez on her list.
Yeah,
I think that's a solid option.
She got starched in like 30 seconds by Wally when they first fought over there in China. So I mean, it's been a while, but I feel like I haven't seen anything that makes me feel like that fight would go significantly different. It might just be longer.
I like that fight. Anytime I get to watch Jessica Andrade fight, I'm in. She's super exciting. Heavy hands. I mean, anything can happen when she fights. But yes, Tatiana Suarez is the answer. She should be next. And if that's the case, I'd like to see a title eliminator between Andrade and Jandiroba. I think